Am I the asshole for sabotaging my brother's wedding? Disclaimer, this is not my story time. I repeat, this is not my story time. My brother and his fiance, they've been together for 4 years and engaged for 6 months. I hate her. I hate her so much. She is the most entitled woman I've ever met, and she thinks that she deserves everything. Her parents are super, super rich. Now, my family isn't poor, but we're definitely not as rich as her. She demands that my brother pay for everything, like all of their rent, all of their car payments, every single thing. My brother doesn't make a lot of money, and this stresses him out a lot. Her dad offered to give my brother money so that he could basically pay for everything, while she thinks that my brother actually paid for it. Even her parents know how terrible she is. She's also extremely jealous. She barely lets my brother do anything, and he's basically shut out all of his friends just to not make her angry if he wants to go out with them. This is the worst part. I walked in on her and her friends talking crap about my brother. They were all a little bit tipsy, so she wasn't measuring what she was saying. Even when I came into the room, she still kept talking trash about him. Being the good sister that I am, I grabbed her drink and threw it in her face. Now my brother's not really talking to me. Part 2 is up. Part 2, am I the asshole for sabotaging my brother's wedding? After I threw the drink in her face, my brother stopped talking to me. He finally heard me out and I told him everything I thought about her. And when I told him that she was talking trash behind his back, he told me that she does that all the time with her friends, and that it's just a way for her to vent. I explained to him that she should have nothing but good things to say about him. She doesn't sound like she loves him when she talks about him. By the way, she was telling her friends that my brother is basically a good for nothing, and that he didn't earn enough money for her to actually live a good life with him. Because of this, I started sabotaging the wedding in small little ways. For example, I know exactly what dress she wanted, so I called the store and ordered all of them. They're currently out of stock. She went berserk. My brother had to calm her down for like an hour. When I finally apologized for throwing the drink in her face, she asked me to help with the wedding. So she gave me the job of sending invitations. So I decided not to send any to her family. When she asked me about it, I told her I sent all the invitations, that they probably got lost in the mail. We all went out to dinner that night with her family and mine. She threw a whole tantrum at the restaurant. She was demanding attention. And of course, everyone was comforting her. She's a total bridezilla. Even her best friend told me that she can't stand her anymore. She also told me I couldn't invite any of my friends because we're all too artsy. Now I need your help to come up with more sabotages, because it's actually working. My brother is finally getting sick of her. He told my parents he's not sure he wants to marry her anymore. My hope is that they break up soon. I just want my brother to be happy. What do you think I should do?
I'm 43, my wife Greta, 45, have 4 children. Kiara's 18, Sean is 6, and a set of twins, Charlotte and Austin, are 4. Charlotte and Austin have always been horrible sleepers. I won't go into all the things that we've tried to get them sleeping well, but for now, I'm thrilled that they sleep in their beds at least 3 hours without coming into our room. Kiara and the twins sleep down on one side of the house, while Sean and my wife and I's bedroom is on the other end of the room. The only reason we don't have the twins down on our end is that the room only fits one bed on it, and neither child wants to sleep on the top bunk. I tried it once, and Charlotte woke up screaming, terrified in the middle of the night, and then Austin refused to even go near the bed. The room will also not fit a double bed, and the twins' dressers' toys in that room. For whatever reason, Kiara has begun having night terrors and waking up screaming, which in turn wakes up the kids. I wanted to take her phone, but my wife said no. Instead, I threatened Kiara that if she woke up the kids again, she'd be the one putting them in their beds and sitting with them until they were settled in again, not us. Last night was the worst, and instead of screaming once, Kiara was yelling out until I raced all the way down the house and flew her door open, turning her light on. The twins were already crying in their room, so I made Kiara get up, show them that she was fine, and told her to stay in their room until they were asleep, and went back to my own bed. This morning, Kiara has tried to sleep and was still trying to sneak back to bed to sleep at 11 a.m., and when my wife asked her why she was so tired, I told her, and told Kiara that this will continue to happen every time she ruins the twins' sleep for no reason. She has no trauma, no reason to have nightmares, and she even told me that I know I'm dreaming, but I can't make myself wake up, but I can make myself scream to wake up. So that tells me that this is intentional. My wife feels that I'm the asshole, but I feel like she's too soft on Kiara, and I'm doing this for her. I'm doing this because she deserves her sleep and not to be woken up because an adult cannot control herself, versus when our kids wake up due to nightmares, bedwetting, and etc. Am I the asshole for making my daughter get up at 3 in the morning? Me and my ex-fiance have been together for almost 6 years and engaged for about 4 of those 6 years. I was introduced to her by a close friend at a party and we just clicked. She was attractive, had a great personality, and had similar hobbies as me, which made it perfect. Back in April of this year, I started noticing little changes in her. She started wearing more revealing clothes to work, started putting on more makeup, and etc. To be honest, I had no problem with any of that stuff as it's her body. But what made things worse for me was when she started coming home late from work, or how instead of spending the weekend off with me, since we both had weekends off from work, she instead would always go out. I once had asked her why she never invited me to come out with her, to which she replied it's only girls' night out, and her other friends would not be happy if I tagged along as they were not bringing their own BF with them. It all came crashing down when me and her had a huge fight in June because she had decided instead of going out on a date with me, she told me how she had already made plans with her friends and that it was rude of her to cancel. That was it for me. I fucking blew up on her and we had a huge fight which resulted in her packing her bags and leaving. I didn't hear from her for almost a week. None of her friends knew knew where she was going, and heck, none of her folks even knew what was going on until she finally contacted me and wanted to talk. Imagine my surprise when she confessed to me that there was another guy involved and how all this time she was hanging out with him and lying to me about hanging with her friends. I fucking blew up. I wanted nothing to do with her and was going to break up with her until she got on her knees and begged me to give her a second chance, which my dumbass self did, but only after she revealed everything to me. It made me sick to my fucking stomach, but in the end, I forgave her and told her to delete all contact with the guy and that I expect her to have no contact with him going forward, which she promised, and things kind of went back to before. We were even spending more time together, but that feeling, that trust, wasn't there anymore. Everything was kind of okay until 2 weeks ago when a friend of mine who was visiting another city, which was 3 hours from where I live, sent me a picture and message saying, "Sorry bro." That broke my already broken heart into a billion little pieces. The picture was of my ex-fiance at a mall 3 hours away from where we lived holding hands with some stranger who I didn't know. I fucking broke down. I was heartbroken. I was so mad because I thought she was at work while in reality she was 3 hours away holding hands with her lover. When I got home from work, I waited for her and decided that I was going to confront her when she got home. Part 2, my ex did something terrible because I wouldn't take her back and now I'm being blamed for everything. When I got home from work, I waited for her and right away confronted her, to which she denied and called me a psycho for not believing her. She also said that I was a piece of shit for not trusting her until I showed her a picture that my friend sent me. Her face told me everything, and that's when the waterworks started, and I knew that I had made a huge mistake in taking her back, so I ended it. She cried and begged me to think it over and not throw away everything that we have together, which made me really angry, and I'm not gonna lie, but I hit her. I wasn't proud, I'm still not, but saying shit like not to throw everything away when it was her who threw everything away pissed me off to the max. I told her to pack her shit and leave, called her parents and mine and told them everything. Her parents came to help her and I told them basically to F off after they told me to think it over and to make the right decision before actually ending it. She begged me again not to end things, but I had to for my own peace of mind. I didn't hear from her or her parents until 3 days ago when my parents called me to let me know that my ex-fiance had unalived herself. Her parents found her and she had left a letter apologizing to everyone, including my parents and me. She said she's sorry from the bottom of her heart for what she did to me and that she can't live without me and that's why she ended it. I'm at a fucking loss. My ex-fiance's friends and family are blaming me and my own mother told me that it was my fault. She told me that I should have forgiven her since I'm clearly worth committing blank over. I need some serious advice as I'm pretty much being cornered by basically everyone and I really don't know what else to do. Is this all really my fault?
I was babysitting my friend's children, and one of the boys was riding his scooter around in circles in the garage because it was cold outside, and I was like, I'm not going to go outside to ride scooters with you, but I'll watch you do it. And so he scootered around in the garage and then ran inside, and I said, hey, put your scooter away so your parents have somewhere to park in the garage when they get home. And he said, no, I don't want to do that. And I said, come on, just go do it. And he said, I don't want to do that. I want to play hide and seek. And I said, if you go put your scooter away, then we can play hide and seek. And he said, really? And I said, if you put your scooter away, we can play any game you want when you get back in. And he said, any game? And I said, any game. And so he ran into the garage, put his scooter back in the appropriate place, came back in, and he said, are you ready to play a game? And I said, yeah, what do you want to play? And he said, I call this game push the babysitter down the stairs. And I was like, I'm afraid of you right now, but I respect you even more for that response. But I was worried he wasn't joking. I was like, what if he's one of these kids with a little bit of a violent streak? And so for the rest of the night, anytime I took the stairs, I would like press my back against the wall just so I could see up and down and make sure no one was sneaking up on me. I was in traffic and this guy started like yelling at me and gesturing towards me and trying to get my attention. And my only experience with men doing that in traffic at red lights are, one, they're hitting on me, which is weird because I'm not listening to Cruel Summer at a red light with my window down because I'm hoping I'll meet the one in that moment. No girl is doing that, I think. And then the other reason men yell at me in traffic is because they think that I did something wrong and they feel the need to tell me about it. So either way, I'm ignoring this guy, right? I'm ignoring him so hard, but the red light wouldn't turn green. And finally, I rolled down my window and I was like, can I help you? And he said, your back brake light is out. Did you know that? And I said, oh no, thank you. Thank you so much for telling me that. And then a couple days later, my sister and I were in the drive-thru at the donut house and we're just chatting. And all of a sudden a man just appears behind her head in the window. And I was like, ah! And she turned around and saw him and then she screamed too. And I rolled down the window and I said, can I help you? And he was a very, very old man. And he said, me and my wife were behind you and we noticed that your brake light was out. And I said, oh, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I had no, thank you. And then I got pulled over by a cop and he came up to the window and he said, ma'am, did you know that your back right brake light is out? And I was like, what? Really? It's my back. I don't see my own brake light. So how would I even know that?
Am I the asshole for walking around my house topless? So I, female 25, like to work out in the morning. I have a little home gym set up in the garage where I like to start my mornings. By the time I'm done, I've typically worked up quite the sweat and I'll throw my shirt into the laundry while on my way to the bathroom to take a shower. However, the past weekend, I've instead just thrown my shirt into the laundry, towel off, and then gone to the kitchen to make myself a brunch or lunch before I shower. I'm still in my sports bra and I still have my shorts and pants on. Personally, I don't see anything wrong with it. But apparently my neighbor, male late 50s, did though. The window to my kitchen faces his backyard, and so he came by to tell me I've been inappropriate. Am I the asshole for walking around my house topless? I'm still in my sports bra and I still have my shorts and pants on while doing this. I personally don't see anything wrong with it. But my neighbor, male late 50s, did though. The window to my kitchen faces his backyard, and so he came by today to tell me that I've been incredibly inappropriate lately towards his family. I had no idea what he was talking about as I never talked to him or his family. Then he brought up the fact that for the past 2 days I've been in my bra by the kitchen window. He ended up calling me an exhibitionist and that this wasn't something that he or his family wants to see. I didn't like being called that, so I told him I'll keep what he said in mind, but I'll do whatever I want.